Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. All right, so Real Housewives of Potomac. So this episode continues to heat up. The fighting continues. After Candace threw a couple of pieces of salad at Mia, Mia picked up a handful of salad, threw it at her so eloquently, and walked away. Candace threw some salad back at Mia, but Mia was already halfway out the door. So after Candace has come for Mia's mother again, Karen and Ashley are now there, and Karen is just basically trying to you need to chill. Like, do you know about her mother? And Candace is yelling, I don't care. I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. And Karen is like, okay, you have a right not to care, but she does have a story behind her mother. Like, you need to stop. And she's still screaming, I don't care. I don't care. So as they are arguing, Mia has some, I don't know, handle thing that slams on the table and it breaks in half. Candace is upset and throwing stuff across the room. And she's like, and this is what they do in the strip club. And I'm just like, you keep bringing up the strip club thing. And if you know anything about strippers, they say they could fight.
You don't know how to, so you need to be quiet.
So as things are heating up, Wendy is just like, I'm going to get help. She goes to get Chris and asks her to get Candace because Mia is at this point like, I'm ready to leave. And yeah, so I love Eddie. I love how so supportive he is of Wendy. He has her back. And he's funny. So Eddie is convincing Gordon to stay. Gordon's like, I'm staying if my wife's staying, but if she don't want to stay, I gotta go. And the girls go to console Mia while Chris takes Candace outside to calm her down. So, Mia is going through her story with her mom, and she says that, her sobriety is very important to, the both of them. Like, she doesn't want her mom to be triggered by somebody that she does not know calling her low budget. Now, I understand what she's saying and where she's coming from, because with somebody who has an addiction issue or is recovering from addiction, anything can trigger them. So a lot of the fans were saying like, oh, that's not her fault if her mother relapses, and that may be true, but she still should be sensitive to the fact that her mother is a recovering addict, and just don't talk about her. That's the whole point about it. And she was like, and if this little chihuahua causes my mother, that was pretty funny because Candace is like a chihuahua, and it's annoying. Chihuahuas are annoying, constantly barking, 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 no bite. So her and Chris are outside, and she's still crying, and she's talking about, oh, she wanted smoke, so I invited her into my room and I gave her smoke. Like, what smoke? What smoke? You talking about finishing stuff and smoke and all of this stuff, but you are crying. And when somebody turns around and uses physical violence, you want to run to the police. You want to run to the courts trying to sue people. And, people are just like, oh, that should not be happening. You shouldn't put your hands on other people. And, oh, you can't use your words. And it's really not about that. When you are like antagonizing somebody or talking crazy, no matter what the culture is, like across races, across cultures, I've seen people who talk that stuff and then they get whooped on. That's just period. Like, you can't talk crazy to somebody and be like, "Oh, we should just go back and forth." No, again, you don't get to choose how somebody responds. Just like you say, nobody can choose how you respond to a comment about your video being low budget. That is actually the truth. But Chris is literally talking to her like a child. He's just like, no, and like he's trying to be the more sensible one. Like, let's like not try to do that. Let's be more mature. You don't have to respond every time somebody says something. And she's like, no, 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 I'm not going to shut up. She needs to shut the F up and all of this stuff. And he's just like, it's childish. And it is. And every time somebody tells her that she's acting like a child or is a child, you get upset. But and yet you exude the characteristics of a child. And one thing that Chris did say that I agree with, he's like, okay, it's okay to respond one time. And her one time was at the podcast launch party. You responded to it then. Why are you coming here with all of that energy still? Like, get over it. Okay, so they finally convinced Mia to stay. Mia and G are staying. And Karen, is having a sidebar with them. And G decides to be the gross uncle who is like sticking his tongue out at Karen, like, what's going on, girl? It was just very, very creepy. He's that creepy uncle that you just ignore. At this point, I'm just like, gee, you need to go lay down and take a nap and recover because you're doing too much. And put the drinks down. Don't pick up another one. So now it's time for everybody to start getting ready because they have to go out for dinner. And unfortunately, Raggedy Ann number one and Raggedy Ann number two are showing up. So even though they said they weren't going to come, Giselle and Robin are here. And what I didn't like is they forwarded to a clip where Ashley was in the bathroom relaying all that went down in the kitchen. And it's just like, Ashley, why are you reporting back? Like, what's wrong with you? So Giselle and Robin show up. They realize that they are sharing a room. Um, and Candace sees them and is like so excited to see Robin. She like jumps on into Robin's strong arms and it's just like so excited to see the both of them. And I'm like, okay, these your besties now? Oh, all right. Okay, so Candace is in Giselle and Robin's room and they are kind of going over what just happened with the big blow up with her and Mia. Because Ashley relayed all the information to Giselle. So Giselle pretty much was telling Candace, like, you know what? No, you were wrong about saying something about her mother being low budget. She was like, well, she talked about my mother. And Giselle's like, no, she was talking to your mother. Talking to your mother and about your mother are two different things. And she just kept trying to evade responsibility, per usual. Candace is claiming that she did not know about her mother prior to the party, but a part of me feels like that Giselle did tell her that information got back to her. That's why she started with the your mama stuff because you've never said that before, but now all of a sudden you saying your mama, your mama, your mama. So Wendy comes into their room to welcome them like the good hostess that she is. And Giselle is like, oh, you have a smile on your face. Haven't seen that in a while. And Wendy ignores her and was just like, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. And Giselle's immediately like, what bathroom should we be using? And Wendy was like, there's no bathroom. Giselle said, do you see one? Wendy said, there's bathrooms downstairs. Well, how should we be using a bathroom? You should be figuring it out. My leg. And she was just looking like, well, oh well. And I was excited. I was so happy because Wendy got her lick back yet again. You told her she could not use your bathroom. Now you're here without a bathroom in your room, and you want me to do what? What about it? So now they're upset, and Giselle was like, oh, she's messing up again. Like, first of all, y'all said y'all weren't even coming. So you got the last choice of the room. Not to say that they would have got first pickings either, but you said you weren't coming. Nobody wants you here. So why are you coming in here with this nasty attitude? Robin is just like, I can't even do this. I'm on my period and there's men around. You've never been on your period before, Robin? At your big age? You could have just stayed home. But now, oh, I'm looking for a hotel. I can't stay here. I need my own bathroom. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody has gotten ready and are leaving to go into the sprinter so that they can head to dinner. So Wendy and Eddie come out in matching outfits and it's so cute. And then they show some pictures because Wendy was like, every time we go on vacation, we are in matching outfits and it's so adorable. So they're in the sprinter. Giselle, Karen, and Ashley are all in the back row. And they're giggling and laughing and getting along. Karen and Giselle are getting along. Surprise, surprise. But what's funny to me is Candace was in a row in front of them in a seat by herself, and Mia was next to her in the row across. But it's like Candace wanted to be involved so bad. Like she just kept turning around because she wanted them to engage her in the conversation. Like, girl, you so thirsty. Turn your peanut head around. So they get to dinner and Wendy is trying to make an announcement. I don't like the face that Giselle had for Wendy. It was just a nasty face while Wendy is trying to be positive, trying to be a good hostess, and just like seems really excited to be having this trip that she planned. So she makes her announcement and Robin is on at the other end and she is on the phone and she's like bringing it up like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get a hotel room," but like it was in a way that like I feel like she was trying to create some drama, but like literally no one cares. If you two did not show up, you and your bestie didn't show up, they would have been fine on this trip without y'all. But you had to show up because you need that check. So she's down on it and like literally sitting at the table with her phone up to her ear, like, and she's just like, nobody got time for that. You say you miserable, be over there in your corner, be miserable because we on this trip to have fun. So G continues to say inappropriate things. It's just like whatever. So there's two groups of people at the restaurant as well. On one side of the Real Housewives group, there's a table of four men. The other table, there's a table of four women. So the table of men bought, the Real Housewives cast some shots. And then next thing you know, the table of women are like, what's going on? Like, those are our husbands. Why y'all didn't bring us shots? And then, Wendy was like to the waitress, like, get them whatever they want. It was funny. So Ashley drums up some more drama. Of course, at dinner, everybody's quiet, getting along. Ashley is asking Chris how he felt about like the big blow up between Mia and Candace, and if he felt a need to come in and help. They go on and on about what he said about Michael and what Michael has said about him. And Candace jumps in and is like, well, Michael called him white trash. Like, okay, and you called my husband a slave driver. And she's like, well, he's driving his slave. So Ashley is like, so are you calling me a slave? And here and again, it's too far. For one, it's confusing because, ma'am, you also have a white husband. And if anybody is a slave, it's you because you are out here working to make money for your household. So what's going on? What's that? So Ashley is like, you were in Mia's face talking about, I've been through this last year. You pointing in her face. That's just a bit confusing. Candace is like, you're a part of the reason of why last year happened. And Ashley was like, I did not start that. And Giselle jumped in and was like, nope, Ashley did not start that. I was not gonna let her try to blame that on you.
And if we being completely honest, Giselle was at fault for what happened last year. But that's another story for another day. Anyways, the reason that I'm not upset about Ashley creating this drama is because during this entire season, every time Ashley and Candace got into it, Candace started with her. Ashley would not be talking to her. She wouldn't even be looking at her. And she would start on her. So it is what it is.
So Chris tries to bring Candace out, like outside, away from the group, away from the issue, away from the argument, and try to calm her down. She is literally fighting this man like a toddler and embarrasses him as he's trying to calm her down. And I was just like, that's funny because you said you don't act up in front of mixed company, and you just did. In a restaurant, not only in front of your castmates or your friends or whatever, but like in front of other strangers that you do not even know. So after Candace fights him, he just walks out. I was I had secondhand embarrassment. If I was a part of that group, I would have been very embarrassed. Like, what is going on? So they're telling Candace to go and check on her husband, but she chooses to keep going back and forth with Ashley. Ascala tells her husband to go check on Chris. Chris is just like, I am over this. Like, this is just so ridiculous. And then we have a sidebar conversation. So Candace is finally convinced to go check on her husband. And Robin is like, you were looking for trouble. And Giselle's like, yeah, I wasn't gonna let her blame you for what happened last year. It's just like she didn't learn anything. And Ashley is just like, why would you continue doing the things that you were doing, knowing what you've been through last year, screaming that you've been through something last year, you've been through that. Why would you do that? And Giselle is like, just continuing, like, yes, she didn't learn. And Robin's saying she was asking for it. And I just find it interesting because people are so shocked and surprised that Robin and Giselle have this take because they were on her side last year. But I knew last year it wasn't about being on Candace's side. They wanted to get Monique out of that, off this show by any means necessary. So ganging up and being with Candace and try to ice Monique out was the way that they knew that they could do it. It was never about Candace. I don't even think Giselle really likes Candace based on previous history that they have had. Yeah, so the truth finally comes out. I've been saying this, but uh Candace and Chris are talking, and he's just like begging her to please just be the bigger person, stop the arguing, and that's how the episode ends. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will talk to you next time.